Hello, hello. Welcome back to the PGO podcast. Today I'm going to give my honest review of the Dead Space Remake. I played it on Xbox Series S. The campaign was between 11 to 16 hours. It took me about 15 hours to finish. I also did a lot of the side missions. I was trying to fetch the last suit, which I unfortunately didn't complete that because I didn't have enough credits on the game and the in-game credits. So I'm gonna go back and do the new game plus eventually and try to find the last suit. But I found the first three suits, but the last one I had a little difficulty getting. So, but I wanted to finish the game, so I stopped. Anyways, like I said, the campaign took me about 15 hours. It's a very linear campaign, very linear gameplay. If you played the first three they released originally on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. All three were pretty good. I mean, the first two were amazing games. The third one was kind of, it wasn't a fan favorite. It wasn't a favorite of mine. It didn't feel like the first two. They made it more of an action game than an actual horror game. So to start this off, I want to do the original scores for the first three Dead Space games. So let's go through it. I looked up their scores on Metacritic. It's my favorite gaming site to look up scores and reviews. So the original Dead Space, the first one for Xbox 360, averaged an 89 out of 100 on Metacritic. So like an 8.9 basically. To me, this one was the scariest of the three. It was the most claustrophobic because it wasn't as open as the next two. So yeah, an 89 is pretty good. Pretty good score from Metacritic. So Dead Space 2, the sequel, came out on Xbox 360 and PS3. That received a 90 out of 100, so a 9.0 out of 100 on Metacritic. To me, this is right on because I love the second game, and most people, they put it slightly above the first game for the most part. So yeah, 89 for the first one, 90 for Dead Space 2. So Dead Space 3 we get to. I already told you this game it didn't live up to the first two. They tried to make it too much of an action cinematic game. Like, it wasn't really scary compared to the first two. They really toned down the horror on this one. And then the Dead Space remake, which I am reviewing today, that I just finished. This one's averaging an 89 too on Metacritic, so the same as the original. So based on the scores, you can see that 1 and 2 were widely regarded as really, really fucking good. And then the third one was just it was good, but it wasn't excellent like the first two. All right, so let's get to the meat of the review. So I went to this game with extra hype compared to most games because, like I said, I love the first two, especially the first one. So I had a feeling it was gonna be really good. They kept the same voice, the same voice actor that voiced Isaac in the first one. So one thing I will say about this game, like, it doesn't feel like any other horror game you've played. It's you like feel like you're losing your mind along with the game. The whole zero gravity thing is really cool. Like, you get to fly around space in it in certain parts. The enemies are terrifying, and you have a flashlight, but there's a lot of really dark areas. Like, you feel so alone in this game. So as soon as this game started, I noticed they kept the same suit that Isaac had in the first one. It was like an exoskeleton suit. So on the back left of the suit, you could see the health. On the back right, you could see the stasis module, it's almost like a bar, like a half circle bar. So you see your health on the back, and you see your stasis bar. So they kept the story basically the same. You're on a rescue mission for the ship Ishimura. So you have to go there. You have to see why they're not responding on the ship, why they're just stuck in space. They haven't moved, and they're not communicating back with your ship. Okay. So you're Isaac. That's the character's name, Isaac Clarke. You have to fly up to the Ishimura, Get on the fucking spaceship and see what the fuck's going on. And it gets intense. As soon as you get on this ship, you're like, oh my god. You see gore everywhere, and you just see a lot of crazy shit right off the start. So first, I wanna walk you through the enemies. So all the enemies, they're a form of necromorphs. I think necromorphs are a very popular. Like, I think they use that name for the creatures in Alien, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. The Alien movies. I could be wrong, but they're called necromorphs in this game. But there's different versions of them. So first we have the slashers. These are the most common. They have regular legs, but they have blades as arms, like really long blades as arms. Picture like the dude from Terminator 2, the T-3000 or whatever the fuck his name was. So picture like long blades as arms, and their bodies are very similar to humans because they used to be humans. But with these enemies, all you do, you shoot off the limbs. You shoot off the legs or the arms. Basically, you have to shoot off both legs and 1 or 2 arms to kill them. So the best weapon for this is like the plasma pistol that the game starts you with. Then we got the fucking lurkers. These are basically baby versions. They crawl on all fours like babies do. They have these tentacles that come out of their back, like 3 tentacles. They shoot this mini nuke acid at you. I hate these cockbags. I think most of the damage to me, to my character in the game, was from these lurkers. They're so annoying, and they can hit you from far away. They're pretty difficult to see until their nuke is coming at you. That's when you can spot them, but by then it's usually too late, and they're hard to dodge. Then we got these bat-like creatures called infectors. These enemies, they don't really do a lot of damage, but if you don't kill them, they infect the dead bodies that are around, and they turn them into new enemies. Basically, they turn them back into the slashers. So they reanimate the dead. That's their biggest strength. But other than that, they're pretty weak. You could kill them really fast. Then we got the big old round bitches. They're the pregnant. They're actually called the pregnant in the game, but they have this big stomach sacs. You basically have to destroy their stomach, the big sac. And then once you fucking destroy these things, they release these things called swarmers, and they're these little clingy assholes that like attach themselves to your body. They're a bunch of blood-sucking leeches though, and they won't do a lot of damage, but you have to keep tapping A to get them off you, like to brush them off. So they're really annoying. Fuck the swarmers, for real. They are the worst. Well, not the worst, but they're some of the worst enemies in the game. Then we have the brutes. These are the big bastards. Big, like, Vin Diesel looking, The Rock looking necromorphs. They're very hard to kill. They take a lot, you waste a lot of ammo on them. But the thing is, you have to aim at their back because they have a sack on their back. A little sack on their back, you know what I'm saying? You have to blow up that sack, and that's what destroys them. But you have to use your stasis to slow them down. That's your little special power. Oh, I just knocked my mic over. The little special power is the stasis. You could freeze time almost, like slow them down. And then you run around these swarmers, or these brutes, and you shoot them in the back. That's basically how you take them out. Then we got these necromorphs called exploders. They're like these gangly fucking things. They're carrying like a big sack, almost like a Santa sack, I guess. They carry it to their side. You have to shoot that. It blows up. So you don't want them close to you because they'll blow up like right next to it, pretty much destroy you. But they're good to use around other enemies. Like if there's a group of enemies and these exploders are in the middle of them, shoot that sack as fast as you could. It'll destroy a lot of the enemies around them. Then we got leapers. I'm not going to go through all these fucking necromorphs, but I'm just going through the cool ones, I guess. So these leapers they kind of remind me of like a creature from the Fallout universe. They have these long tails, almost like necromorphs, but they walk on all fours, and they could fly through the air in 0 gravity. They are terrifying. Like when you see these up close, they are terrifying. They do a lot of damage. Like I said, they're really annoying in 0 gravity situations. And then last but not least, the Divider. These are some of the most terrifying enemies because the Divider, you could They're lanky like Slender Man, okay? Really tall. But say you shoot their arm off, the arm will come after you, or if you shoot the head off, the head will turn into like a separate entity, a separate creature, and that shit'll come right after you. Like they're very hard to destroy because you have to destroy them twice. You have to destroy the body parts, and then you have to destroy those body parts that turn into monsters. So yeah, they're fucking annoying. There's other enemies. There's also this like I forget what it's called. It's almost like a worm, okay? It pulls you through the hall into a hole, and you have to destroy the sack before it pulls you into the hole and kills you. Those are annoying too. So I want to go through the categories of my review. I like to break it down a little bit. So let's start with the horror factor. The most important part of a horror game is the horror factor. It has to be scary. It has to leave you feeling scared and like devastated and just nervous the whole game. And this game does it. I give it a 9 out of 10 on the horror factor. I love that they throw so many different types of enemies at you at one time. The music is terrifying. It changes throughout the game for each scenario. You could hear background noises all the time. It's just, and you hear the screams of the creatures when you enter a room. Like it's just, this game really does it for the scared, the horror aspect. They nailed it, just like the original. Oh, I love that when you open the door, like when you first go into a room, you can't see around the corner. And a lot of times you'll get attacked from the corner, like your blind spot. That makes it creepy too. But yeah, you get this foreboding feeling of like a creeping death every time you enter a new area or room. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for horror factor. So now we'll get to graphics. The graphics, I'll get a 7.5 out of 10. I mean, it was good for what it was. They basically just polished up the original, which I'm not complaining about. The original looked pretty good. I'm glad they didn't use a whole new graphic system. You know what I mean? Like a whole look to the game. I'm glad they kept the look the same. That to me was a big thing. Like I said, they kept the health on the back. They kept the whole exosuit the same. They kept the graphics from when you change your outfit and the inventory and the store the same. So I like all that. But like I said, 7.5, a little above average. I'd say it was good. Gameplay. Let's get to the gameplay here. Honestly, it plays like the original, feels like the original, but with way better frames per second, obviously, because, I mean, the first game was, I'm trying to remember offhand when the first game was. I want to say 2008. Might have been after or before. It was right around there. So the gameplay, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Great response system, great hitbox on the game. The physics were great. It was a little clunky because you're in space, you're wearing this heavy suit. You have to expect it to be clunky. That didn't affect the score for me, so I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Really good score for me. Now we're going to get to the story. The story it's pretty much the same as the first one. A couple subtle differences, a couple different, obviously dialogue's a little different. The voice actors, other than Oscar Isaac, are a little different. But the story was amazing and simple at the same time. Reminded me a lot of the Event Horizon with the story, because this ship is creating these creatures, or it's making people go crazy, and you just feel like you're losing your freaking mind when you're playing this game. So I'm going to give the story a 9.5 out of 10. Almost perfect. Then the last part, to me, this is probably the most important part, other than the horror aspect in a horror game, is the fun factor. Replayability. Are you smiling the whole time you're playing it? Are you enjoying yourself the whole time? That's how I judge the fun factor. I gave it a 10 out of 10. I mean, I had a blast this whole game. I had a blast in the cutscenes. Everything about this game I had a blast with. It's a great third-person viewpoint, great weapon mechanics, an engaging story where you feel like you're actually part of it, like you're at the helm, you're actually in the suit controlling it. So the overall Pita Joe score, I'm going to give it 9 delicious pitas out of 10. It's a game you can sink your gaming fangs into. It's a delectable piece of gaming bread, a great game. It's one of my top 10 horror games. I mean, it just came out and I just played it and I'm putting it in my top 10 horror games. I mean, it's that good. It beats the original to me. Yeah, I mean the space atmosphere is really cool. The zero gravity parts are some of my favorite parts in the game. It feels like you're running out of air when your oxygen's getting low. Really mechanics in the game. The gunplay was great. Each gun has a different feel. There's a variety of guns. There's a variety of enemies. Great ending boss. I love the last boss. Yeah, so that's my review. 9 pitas out of 10. Definitely go out and buy this game, or if you have an Xbox, it's on Game Pass. If you pay the monthly subscription, so you can get it for free on there. Yeah, go out and get it. So the review's over now. I gave it, like I said, 9 out of 10. Now I want to talk about my top 5 most anticipated video games releasing soon, like 2024, 2025, because next year is kind of a dead year for the most part. I mean, there's some good games coming out, but not a lot. So my number 5 most anticipated video game is Star Wars Outlaws. I'm a sucker for open world games. I'm a sucker for anything Star Wars. This game was picked up by Massive Entertainment. It's the same studio that brought you The Division 1 and 2, which are both great games. I'm really hoping this game gives us the RPG elements that we want in a Star Wars game. The good action. It's going to be a third person, like I said. I watched some gameplay on it. It looked really good. Like it looked like almost I don't want to say Uncharted gameplay in space, but the physics looked really good. There was a lot of like climbing and like environmental stuff, you know. It was a really quick gameplay, but it looks really good. The lightsabers look great. So I have really high hopes for this game. I think everybody that's a Star Wars fan, this is at the top of their list of games coming out for Star Wars that have been announced. Yeah, so that's my number 5. It's supposed to release the third or fourth quarter of 2024. It'll be available on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. So my number 4, we're going to get right into it here because I love this whole series, and this is one of my favorite games. If you listen to my top 10 video games of all time episode, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater was there. So they're doing a Snake Eater remake. I don't think it has the title of Snake Eater. It's something else, but it's a remake of the game. So if you are a true gamer like myself, you're going to be jizzing in your pants with anticipation for this masterpiece. I watched a little bit of it wasn't gameplay, but it was like a teaser trailer. Looks amazing. They're using they're using the Unreal 5 engine for this. The pictures look beautiful. The teaser trailer looked beautiful. I just don't know when it's going to release. If I were to put a date or a year, I would say 2025. Hopefully early. I mean, if we get late 2024, I'll be happy. But I don't think a lot of it is done yet. And as we're seeing, a lot of games are on delay or they got pushed back. Still, the fallout from COVID and I don't know, just not ordering enough parts or whatever it is. I mean, everything's behind right now. As far as this game, I want them to bring back the original bosses. This game had some of the best boss fights. Anybody that played the original remembers the sniper in the snow boss. I love that one. So bring back the story. It was a great story. Bring back the cutscenes, make them even more beautiful. To me, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is on the Mount Rushmore for my anticipation of games. It's up there. Number 3, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered. So excited about this. I can't even hold my excitement right now. Oh my god. No, but for real, this game. If you played the first 3, you'd have to be old like me because they released in the late 90s. I think the first one was 96. The rest came out, I think 3 released in 98, maybe 99. But yeah, I saw pictures for it. I saw gameplay. They're keeping basically everything the same. They just polished it up. So Lara Croft's boobies are not square anymore. They're more of a egg shape now. I don't know if that makes sense. But I just hope they keep all the puzzles the same. I hope they keep the same worlds. I loved in part Tomb Raider 3 that you could visit different areas, like you could choose your own adventure. That was really cool. I hope they keep that. I hope it runs at 60 frames. Please, oh, please run at 60 frames. But I mean, maybe 120 frames. Who knows? I think the PS5 could do that. Number 2, BioShock 4. This is a tough one for me because BioShock 1 is my second favorite game of all time. So I hope 2K doesn't mess up the fourth one. I'm hoping they go back to the Rapture, the underwater world. We'll see. But supposedly it's supposed to be open world from what I heard. I just don't know how they're going to do that in the Rapture because if you played the first two, the Rapture is very linear. It's like buildings underwater that connect to each other almost. So we'll see if they could do that. I don't know if it's... When they said that it was going to be open world, I think it's going to be a whole different world, a whole different environment, but we'll see. And then number 1, most anticipated, I think for most people that love video games, Last of Us 3. We want this freaking game. We need this game. After the way the second one ended, we need part 3. We don't need multiplayer game. We need a single player campaign following Ellie. Once again, maybe for the last time, we need this. So I don't want to spoil this for people that didn't play the first two, so I'm going to preface this. There's going to be spoilers. So the second game ended with Abby and Ellie both being alive. So I was thinking about what could happen in the third one for the story. What I do think is going to happen, I think Ellie is going to sacrifice herself finally for the greater good of sacrificing herself for the, what do you call it? I'm blanking out here. She's going to sacrifice herself so the cure is made, okay? Because she holds in her blood or in her brain, she is invincible to the virus, okay? So she's going to sacrifice herself, which she was doing in the first game, and they're going to get a cure. I think that's going to be the ending of the game, or maybe it's the beginning of the game. I don't know, but that's what I think is going to happen. So Naughty Dog, please get this out soon, before I die at least, okay? Don't pull a George R.R. Martin and make us fans wait for years, okay? Get her done, get it out. We want to play this. So that wraps up my top 5 most anticipated video games. I gave you the Dead Space review, 9 out of 10 for Dead Space. You could, in the comment section on YouTube here, or on the Podbean or Spotify, you could leave a comment talking about a game I missed. What's your most anticipated game? Tell me in the comments. Yeah. As always, stay positive, stay hopeful, stay positively hopeful. All right, bye.